Hello and welcome to our latest video, which is a review of the Campark TC22 trail camera. This camera is a 4K camera with an integrated solar panel and an internal battery. Before we go any further, we'd like to say a big thank you to Campark Trail Cameras for gifting us this camera. In this video we're going to do a brief unboxing where we'll show you all the things in the box, and then we'll have a look around the camera showing you all the features. After that we'll put the camera out in one of our locations and record some footage, and then after reviewing that footage we'll give you our conclusions and opinion of the camera. Now we're going to talk you all through the features of this camera. So first of all, on the front we've got the solar panel here. This is really handy so that we don't need any external batteries or to go through loads of disposable ones. As you can see, it's got a really sturdy mount here, which means it's not going anywhere. However, I don't think we can adjust it, so hopefully that's at a good height and angle for us to be able to use. On the front, we've got the infrared panel, which is what allows you to see in night vision, so that you can clearly see the animals even though it's really dark. Then we've got the cameras. There seems to be two of those, which is good, and hopefully that would mean that the footage is really good quality as well. Here we've got three sensors, which detects the animals moving. That's good, we've got some pointing in different directions. That way that if there's an animal on the side of the camera, it can still pick it up as well. Next we'll move to the back of the camera. Here we've got the strap holder, you can see there, and that's where the strap goes through and attaches the camera to either a tree or a post or anything else at all which you want to attach it to. Above that we've then got the security cable hole. If you wish to put a security cable through just to make your camera more secure, you can put it through there and attach it again to the tree or post that you're using, and that means it's not going anywhere if anyone finds it. A really good feature about this camera is that it's got quite a few grips, as you can see here, here and lower down as well. So that means when you attach it to the tree or post, it's going to grip into that when you tighten it, and that means there's not going to be any movement as well, which is handy, especially if you've got an animal sniffing it or moving it around maybe, which we sometimes get. On the bottom of the camera we've got a few features here as well. We've got charging port, which is for 5 volts, which can be used. We'll generally be using the solar panel function, but it's quite handy to know it's here as well. And that's got a cover you can put over to make sure no water gets in, which is really good as well. Here we've also got a 1/4-20 attachment where you can put a screw in and then you can attach a tripod to that as well, which is good if you want an alternative method of attaching it apart from the tree strap. On the side here we've got 2 buckles which can be used to open and close the camera. It's quite good that there's 2 of them rather than 1, so that if one's broken the other one can still be used to hold the camera still. We've then also got this function here, which is where you can put a padlock through, and that keeps the camera nice and secure if you're keeping it in public land or close to a road or somewhere else where people might see it, which is always handy. Next we're going to look inside the camera. As you can see, these buckles are really easy to open but also keep the camera quite secure. First thing we're going to do is remove this, and this is a really handy set of instructions that we'll be using later when we set up the camera. As you can see, there isn't a section you can open here because this is an integrated and internal battery for the solar panels. You've got a little light here which you can't quite see at the moment, but it goes orange when it's charging the solar panel, and that way you can know it's on, which is good. And we've been told that in low light it will also work, which is good as it's quite dark at the moment in the UK in winter. Next we'll move over to this side. We've got a small screen which we can use to view any footage on the camera, which is really handy if we want to have a quick look through what we've got. It's quite a nice size screen, not too big, not too small, which means we should be able to see the animals in quite a lot of detail. We've also got all our buttons which we'll use to set up the camera in just a bit. And we've got the off and on switch, which is good that it's quite big, so then if you're cold and trying to turn the camera off and on, you won't get numb fingers and be able to not turn it on. Down here we've got the SD card slot, which is where you put the memory card in. That way we can record lots of footage and store it for later. Beyond that, we've got the UV port that you can attach the UV cable to. And then after that, we've got a small hole which you can press the thimble in, which we showed you earlier, and that resets the camera. This is really handy because the battery is internal. You can't disconnect the battery to reset it, so this function is a really good way to be able to reset it as well. As well as this, which you may be able to see, we've got a rubber seal that goes all the way around the edge of the camera. That'll stop water or any moisture in the air getting in, which means it's really handy for stopping the camera fogging up, which we have had in the past with some of our cameras. So that's a really good way to stop that happening, and hopefully we won't have that issue with this camera in the future. We've now set the camera up and we're going to talk you through some of the features that we've put on and also what all the buttons do. First of all, we'll put an SD card in the slot and that's now ready to go. We've got the switch here which has got 3 options: off, setup and on. So to show you what we've set up, we'll move it to the setup position and then the screen will turn on in just a second. In this mode you can see the screen, the things that you've recorded, and also some of the settings at the top and the date and time. On the control pad you can change the camera from night to daytime, which we won't do for now. Menu, whenever you press that, takes you back to other functions as well. You can press this button with the Wi-Fi symbol on, and it gives you a QR code you can use to download an app. That means you can then view the things you've seen on the camera over Wi-Fi from your phone. So we'll be trying that later, as that's a really handy feature. If we go into menu a second, we can show you some of the things we've put on. So these are about the recording themselves. We wanted photos and videos because in our videos, as well as doing the video clips, we always do our picture compilation at the end, which we always enjoy doing, and other people seem to enjoy seeing as well, which is always good to hear. This has got some information about the images we're choosing to do. We've got it on the highest resolution we can and the highest size as well, which is good for our YouTube channel. We've also got 3 pictures and then a video clip. We find that 3 is good to be able to pick a nice picture out of them, but any more would mean that the animal would have moved past by the time the video starts, so we keep it on a middle number such as 3. This is showing the resolution we've put on and also the video length of 20 seconds. That way, if an animal's staying around in front of the camera for quite a long time, we get a nice long video clip before the next one starts. However, it does sometimes mean we cut them down if the animal goes past quite quickly. We've decided to have audio on, which is handy because lots of the animals we see on our cameras, like deer or pheasants, tend to make quite a lot of noise, and it's always nice to hear that on the videos as well. We've also got some general settings here about language, the SD card, setting the date and time, and also time format. We've also got the date stamp on because it's always good to see when things are recorded, and we can also set passwords for the camera and for the app if we want an extra layer of security, which we don't want at the moment, but it's always good to have that in case we need to. So now we've set all of that up, we're going to switch the camera off for now. When we start recording, we're going to switch from off past the setup to the on button, and that will automatically start the recording for us. Before we put the camera in its location it's going to be in while we test it out, we've got to take all the stickers off first. Now we've done this, that'll mean that the screens will be nice and protected from us looking around the camera, but it also means that when we get to put the camera out there, they won't have all the blue tints on them, which is never a good thing. Now I've taken all the stickers off, we're going to put the camera in its location while we test it out. We'll then show some clips of the footage we've got from the camera and then talk you through what we think of the camera's footage and its overall features at the end. We've now downloaded the app, and as a test we've put the camera out in the garden. As you can see, this is a live view of what's going on currently. If I press this button, I can also change the settings of the camera, which is really useful. And as this view is live, that means that when we put the camera in its final location, we can actually see the angle of the camera before we set it up. So that means we can adjust it while we're still there, which is helpful so that we get a perfect shot for capturing the wildlife. We've put the camera out for 3 weeks in our woodland location. During this time we had quite a lot of bad weather. We had a couple of storms and some bad frost as well. This meant we had less wildlife than usual, but we still got some good footage from this camera. The fact that it's got a solar panel on would make you think that generally it wouldn't work so well. However, it charged even in the low light that we had, and the battery didn't run out once, which was really good. We're really happy with the video quality of the camera, and we saw some of the different modes that the camera had. However, we didn't have any wildlife in either 4K or the starlight mode footage. However, we do have some footage without wildlife in on some of these modes. So here's an example of the footage in 4K. Here's an example of footage in the starlight mode. The footage in this mode is generally taken at dawn or dusk or other times when there's low light. This mode generally has slightly lower resolution due to the low light levels. However, it shows footage in colour, which would normally be in black and white, which means it's a really good feature to have on a camera. In conclusion, we're really happy with this camera and think it's a really good camera option to have, and we highly recommend it as well. We really like the solar panel feature on this camera and also the good quality of footage. When we put it out in the bad weather, we found that it was very waterproof and works properly even in frost, which some cameras may not do. All the features like the buckles and the gap to put the lock on is very sturdy and durable as well. So I'd like to say thank you again for Campark for supplying this camera. We really appreciate it. Because we're so happy with this camera, we'll continue to use it, and you may see it featured in some of our upcoming videos. Thank you for watching our first review video. I hope you enjoyed it and also found it useful as well.